to stay safe. They're not giving exact details, and that makes perfect sense. You don't want the other side to know just what steps and what protocols you're going through to make sure that your data is safe. If they're doing these pretty basic phishing emails, and look, we have all seen these phishing emails. You know, it looks like it's from the power company. It looks like it's from the bank. They're getting more sophisticated, so you have to be ever increasingly aware of what's going on. I think it's going to be an interesting 151 days until the election, because I have a feeling this is not going to be the end of it. They're going to keep trying this until they get a little gem of information.
There are a couple of things that show you right now. This is Washington, D.C. That's St. John's Church that was set on fire earlier in the week, the same church where the president went about 24 hours after that. And also where we have seen a lot of protests deep into the night at the moment, fairly calm. As that's happening, the president I mentioned is up in the state of Maine. He is visiting one of only 2 factories in the world that actually make the swab. The other was in Italy, this one is in Maine, that makes the swab that is used for testing for COVID-19. He is behind a little bit. About 25 minutes ago, we thought we would see him before this point, but not to be at the moment. Nonetheless, he will have remarks sometime in, I'd say, the next 50 points to close out the week. I don't know, a lot of people called that one. Neil probably did during the weekend.
Bill Howard, you are so right. Read it and leap. The markets right now surging along with the who were looking at an economy that was dealing with that whole coronavirus shutdown, and that would take a long time to come back from that, and then you had all the protests and concerns that it would take a long time to come back out of that. And then you had investors saying, you know, we see light at the end of this tunnel, and we see hope and promise at the end of this tunnel, and we also see Americans eager to get back to business, which is why a lot of airline stocks were soaring today. Hospitality and leisure stocks soaring today. Technology stocks soaring today. Virtually every sector that has a stake in this economy advancing today. Susan Lee with more on what happened. Susan.
Neil, blowout jobs report, blowout day on the stock market. The economy adding 2 million jobs in the month of May instead of losing 8 million. Maybe one of the biggest surprises in labor market history, and that helped rally stocks with the Nasdaq hitting record highs, as you mentioned. The S&P 500 within a hair, a whisker of being positive on the year. And who would have thought this would be possible given the week's protests and the ongoing coronavirus spread? Now, the beaten down travel stocks turning around. Take a look at the airlines. American Air up 75% on the week. We saw similar gains for the likes of United, Delta, and Southwest. Also, check out Boeing, the plane maker, one of the biggest contributors to the Dow's rally. Boeing up 40% over the past 7 days. And financials, like the banks, they do well when there's less concern about the economy. And they also do better when the 10-year Treasury yield goes up. And that usually happens when there's less risk in the economy. Now, the past few weeks, as more states start to reopen and signs the U.S. might be restarting, that's been driving money out of the high-flying tech stocks and more into these so-called value plays, stocks that haven't done as well and trading at cheaper levels. But today, money was going everywhere, including into technology, and Apple hit a new record high. Microsoft, Nvidia, the other growth plays that also got some bids as well. Now, the S&P 500 had its best 50-day performance in history from the depths of the coronavirus sell-off close to the end of March. And Neil, that was the shortest bear market in history. What a day.
Yeah, what a day, indeed, what a week. All right, thank you, Susan Lee from Fox Business Network, which if you don't get, you should demand. But then again, you get it, so obviously your demand worked. All right, in the meantime, I should pause it here. You know, with the Dow now a little north of 27,000, remember it's 29-something that were our highs, but you know what we were a little bit more than a couple of months ago? Hovering in and out of 18,000. That's a surge of about 45% from our lows for the Dow. We've already seen, as I said, a record highs for the NASDAQ and the NASDAQ 100. And a lot of you are saying, all right, this is getting a little gobbledygook for me. What does it really mean? Well, it means right now that those who thought the economy would tank into a prolonged depression, or at least a very, very long recession, might have missed something called capitalism and the ability of people coming back into the economy to boost things. Now, whether that ultimately proves to be a V-shaped recovery or just a recovery, it probably doesn't matter to traders who seem to be convinced that we're through the worst of it. The protests are a worry, but as long as they remain peaceful, It's the Wall Street community's way of saying, we like that. That's what we do in this country. And right now, coming back and getting back to work, that's what we do in this country too. And doesn't Bernie Marcus know it? He is the co-founder of Home Depot. By the way, that company hit an all-time high in the stock market today. Well, Bernie Marcus with us right now. Bernie, you expressed confidence when we talked just a few weeks ago about this economy would find its way back, Americans would find their footing. We've had some interesting developments since then, but it bore you out. This economy, this market bore you out. What do you think?
Well, I think that the president was right. The American people were tired of being locked up, and the doors open and they're rushing out. Now remember, Neil, this is great news, but there's still 85 million people. 85% of the jobs are still haven't been filled, that have been lost before this calamity that hit us. I mean, both the protests, but the coronavirus. So, but people want to get back to work. America wants to work. America wants to see good things happen. And I'm so happy Job Creators Network had a lot to do with it, as we talked about it before, because we helped pass this PPP bill, which I think has helped the businesses out there to get started, but we need more. And I think that one of the things that we're trying to pressure the United States to do today, we're talking to the president, his staff of people, is tax relief in the way of taking care of those people who are working, and also help the owners of the stores. And I'm thinking in terms of the small store owners who really are going on a whim and a prayer. Many of them are opening, working at 50% capacity, and that's tough for them. But if they took FICA off for the rest of the year so that the employees could get their part of the FICA and the employers would get their part of the FICA, this could help the recovery even further. So there's a lot that could happen here.
We should just explain there, you are pro a payroll tax cut. You want a payroll tax cut. The president does too. But I'm wondering, given the strength that's in the economy right now, or at least evidence itself in this report, you could argue that, with the trillions of dollars we've already spent on stimulus, trillions of dollars through the Federal Reserve to goose the economy, that maybe the better part of dollar might be holding back and seeing how this goes, because it does appear, whether you're on the left or right on this, it does appear to be working.
Well, I'm going to go back and say to you that we haven't seen a total response to this. There are many businesses that haven't opened yet, and those that are operating, Neil, are operating at a small capacity, especially in the refreshment business, the hotel business, the restaurant business. These people, which is a big part of our workforce, they still don't have all the people back, and they need help to operate. Look, many of them are just barely making it between paying payroll, paying their insurance, paying liability, and now they have another issue that they have to worry about, Neil, which is the lawsuits that you and I talked about. I told you this was going to happen, that the liability lawyers are going to start pumping in. Well, they have. And I don't know the way you know it, but let me throw a damper in today. There have been up to 2,400 lawsuits filed already. Nursing homes, different kinds of stores, and this is going to continue. And we need some relief from the federal government and also from state governments to give these people a reprieve. They've had enough to deal with without having to worry about lawsuits, frivolous lawsuits, that really will take up time and money, and that's all it's going to do, and dampen the economy again. Look, America wants to work. American people want to continue to do well. They want to see their families grow, and they want to see America open up again. And I think that we should do everything in our power to keep this thing going. It's a small impetus that could become a tidal wave if we do the right things.
All right, we'll watch it very, very closely. Bernie Marcus of Home Depot fame founded that company in the middle of a pretty nasty recession. I think it did okay. I think he did okay with that. By the way, he was referring to insurance relief, liability relief for a lot of companies whose workers come back and either they get sick or they're afraid that they will, that they file a lawsuit. And part of the idea of more aid to some of these states and localities is that businesses in the affected region be shielded from part of that. Not all of it, but part of that. Where that goes is anyone's guess. I want to get the other read of this from Robert Wolf, the former UBS America's CEO Barack Obama, one of his key economic advisors. Robert, the economy all of a sudden, and you mentioned this last time, you expected a rebound. I don't know if you expected it this soon. Others are saying that this is a sign that maybe we are going to see a V-shaped or a sharp recovery. Where are you on this?
Yeah, first of all, you had a great legend in Bernie Marcus. I mean, he's a role model for many of us as an entrepreneur. Listen, this was an incredibly positive number versus expectations. But let's make sure we're aware that that's versus expectations. We're still talking about north of 13% unemployment, but more importantly, greater than 20% when we look at underemployed, unemployed, and discouraged. So it's still much greater than where we were during the Great Recession. The other thing I would say on today's numbers, which you can say the glass was half full for sure, but of the 2.5 million that were rehired and came back, they were temporary workers that came back, of which over half was in one sector, which was leisure and hospitality, which got incredible relief from the government. So we knew that temporary workers were going to come back. Also, the 14 sectors that we look at in unemployment, almost half of them were down, and especially at the state and local level. So I want to be clear, this was a great number today. But by no means are we on this way to a V-shaped recovery. We still have consumer spending way down. Small businesses, which you and I spoke about, still only about 10% have been helped by the payroll protection program. So I'm glad we had a great number today. It was definitely beyond my expectations. But this is not a V-shaped recovery. We are not out of the woods yet. We need a lot more to do, especially in the small business.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, Robert. We're not out of the woods yet, but we at least saw some daylight a lot sooner than we thought in those woods. So let me get your sense about what we need to do now. There are a lot of people who are looking at the trillions of dollars we've already spent and say, let's give that time right now. There are others who look at it and say, no more stimulus checks. They're needed. We need to provide a fallback for businesses so that they get more support. I mean, you could run up the meter all the more now. And that seems to be the official view of both parties, maybe Republicans a little less. I'm just wondering, is Wall Street factoring this in, that there's going to be more aid, or is Wall Street perfectly fine with what we've got and let the markets do their thing, let the economy do their thing, let people returning to work do their thing, restaurants opening, businesses opening, shops opening, let that be the means by which we see the economy surge?
So the market isn't necessarily correlated to the economy right now, right? It's not like we've had great growth over the last few years. The market's really about, we have incredibly low rates. And we're in this situation where, for the most part, tech has driven the markets. So, I would say they're not necessarily correlated, and they haven't been for a while. We're being forced into the market. With respect to the recovery today and stimulus, which was your question, we have to make sure we help state and local. So in the CARES Act 4.0, we have to look at state and local governments. We don't want police, first responders, fire, teachers. We don't want them actually get terminated, right? We want to make sure the service sector stays vibrant. Number two, we have to do something with the consumer. We're doing nothing with the consumer. So we have to figure out, it's a great thing to have employment back. We need them spending again. We need businesses making sure that they get revenues again. And it's not just a relief rally.
All right, we'll see what happens, my friend. Robert Wolf, very good seeing you, the former UBS Americas CEO, former Barack Obama economic advisor. One point, and he touched on this, the markets are essentially back to the level they were at when we had 20 million more Americans working. So the counter argument to the surge of the markets is that maybe they've advanced a little too far, because we're kind of back to where we were when millions and millions of more Americans were employed. So is that the thing to worry about? We'll pursue that. We'll also pursue what happened in Washington, D.C., where we're told that the Utah National Guardsmen were kicked out of their hotel. Now, the mayor there says this was a huge misunderstanding. It was a budget matter. Lindsey Graham isn't so sure. The senator is here after this.
You! Lots of money with Liberty Mutual! We only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The United States Postal Service is here to deliver your mail and packages, and the peace of mind of knowing that essentials like prescriptions are on their way. Every day, all across America, we deliver for you, and we always will.
Have some home projects on your list?